I'm here in Malaysia and I'm going to interview one of the greatest guitarists and composer in Malaysia. His name is Samad.
Yes, Samad.
Samad,
yeah.
Yes. So welcome.
Thank you, Jackie.
To the workshop of Jerry Young in Malaysia.
Malaysia.
各位觀眾，咁我依家就喺馬來西亞啦嚇，咁就要想訪問下呢個馬來西亞其中一個最犀利、最出名嘅吉他手啦嚇。So have you ever been to Hong Kong?
I have actually, and in fact, I met this guitarist. His name Jackie Lau in Hong Kong last time.
Yeah, that's me, and that's why we met.
Yeah, we met through a mutual friend, Alex Di Grassi.
One of the greatest.
Yeah, one of the greatest fingerstyle guitarists on the planet, hands down. And I remember actually meeting you because I went to Hong Kong to watch Alex Di Grassi's concert in Hong Kong because it's very rare he comes to Asia, and because he had a concert in China, concert in Korea, and concert in Hong Kong, and I never been to Hong Kong, so I thought I want to go to Hong Kong and watch Alex Di Grassi. And then when I kept in touch with Alex, I said I want to come. Then when I finally met him, he said, I'm meeting this guitarist that I met at the festival in China. And his name's Jackie Lau. Do you want to come? We're going shopping. And it was at the Women's Market or something in Hong Kong.
Yes, Lady Street.
Lady Street, yeah. So that's when I first met you, and it was. I remember it was a beautiful trip, and we
had a great time.
A great time just hanging out with you. Yeah.
Yeah. So well, actually, my question I didn't prepare, so we just get a short chart.
Are you like jazz musician improvising?
Yes, but I don't improvise on guitar.
You can improvise with your question.
Okay, so how would you describe the style you're playing your guitar?
Okay. So I play fingerstyle guitar, but with influences from jazz, new age, pop, and rock. But I would say if people ask what style do you play, I play solo fingerstyle guitar. So it's probably the biggest difference is most of my music is on steel string guitar, steel string fingerstyle guitar, but I borrow a lot from classical guitar actually. A lot of my technique I borrow and learn from classical guitar.
It's really because when I was telling him what pieces I'm playing, he know that he can name it and he know what is that. So last night when I hang out with us, and he showed me a lot of really very great fingerstyle technique, and yes, a lot of it, and I think he is really one of the most creative guitarists in his work. So his work is not that kind of very typical stuff. I think it's all very creative and melodic. So can you show us some of your favorite work or with some special technique? I'm sure Hong Kong audience will love to see it.
Let me think. So I do some, like the song just now. I like to play with harmonics on the guitar. So like that song just now was called Across the Skies. And so I combine like bass notes and two harmonics at the same time. So maybe I play again now, but explain a little bit. So the intro is like this. So there's a few techniques here. So one is the harmonics, which is interesting on a steel string. The sustain is like a bit different than on classical. And I combine it with the bass note. And then I do this at the end.
Like a vibrato.
Yeah, like a vibrato, because the sound from the acoustic guitar comes from the top vibrating. So when you do this, it sounds like a little effect. It's quite interesting. So that's one thing that I do, and then I have some songs that use some percussion as well.
Yeah. Can you show us the progression, or you have to use
let me tune. So I for the percussion stuff, most of it I write in this tuning called dat-gat. So it goes D.
So long is E, and now going to D.
So this one goes down to D.
And for most of the players in Hong Kong, they have to use the tuner. So don't imitate him. He's just now tuning by ears only. Right?
Even I use for concert. I use so it's a D A D G A D. So it's a dat-gat. So it's a open sus tuning. So it's not major, not minor, which makes it very versatile. So I'll play a section, a middle section of my song, so you can sort of see the technique. This one's from a song called "Train to Eric Land," and it's inspired by the playing of Eric Roach, an Irish guitar player that I got to study with back in 2003 and 2004. So here is the middle section. What happens there is I combine some percussion sounds, some bass sounds, some snare sounds.
So make it like a drum.
So you make it like a drum, you know, because the wood, if you have you know, on the guitar, if you hit the wood, you have all this different kinds of sounds. Yes. So when you combine it with playing chords on the guitar, you have a bit more variety. It's almost like ear candy, because usually you just hear people play notes on the guitar. So now you combine some chords. So here I'll do, that's this one, and then I put one more sound. So that one sound. Then you put one snare sound here. Already two sounds, and then you. So you have many sounds, including the harmonics just now, but this time I just slap on the strings. So this kind of thing I enjoy in my playing as well, because it's a lot of energy, a lot of very vibrant. So, and when people watch it also, it's almost like dancing on the guitar. You know, you're like dancing around on the guitar. So this is the kind of things that I also teach to my students, and I have some students who study with me the style, and also I encourage them to compose, write their own music using the style.
I believe you must be a very great teacher too.
I have fun teaching it, and my students they enjoy it as well, because it's you know, it's a bit different than just learning just left hand chords and you know, things like that. But this is sort of, I think now it's a very essential palette for the modern acoustic guitarists. You know, more and more people do it.
I see.
Yeah.
So I know Asimit is a very not only a creative musician, and he is very kind to learn the music when he was young, in the maybe past 10 years, I don't know. So I know you have studied from many different masters from all over the world. So can you tell us something about that?
Yeah, sure. When I started playing guitar, I actually started on classical guitar, and at that time I studied with different people in Kuala Lumpur. But one of my influential teachers in Kuala Lumpur is this guy by the name of Rostan Abbas, who's a teacher who studied with a classical guitarist in Texas, a Malaysian classical guitarist, but who lived in Texas, Philip He, who is an amazing classical guitarist as well. So I started off learning from Rostan, all these classical things, technique. I played like some basic Villalobos, some sword, tariga, the small pieces, the miniatures, not the big ones.
Okay.
So I started from that. And then I studied at Berklee College of Music in Boston. And when I studied there, it was a different experience because I wanted to study jazz and improvisation and also jazz composition. So I studied with people like this guitarist by the name of Mick Goodrick, who was a famous teacher. He played with Pat Metheny, and then I studied with a guy, John Damian, who taught jazz guitarists like Mike Stern and Lenny Stern and Bill Frisell. So I wanted to study with the teachers who taught my heroes. So they taught my heroes. So I figured I must go to the teacher of my heroes.
And you become a hero.
Yeah, hopefully,
someday.
Hopefully someday.
Yeah.
And then I think, one of the biggest things in my playing that really changed was, and this was before I went to Berkeley, was I was interested in acoustic guitar, and I was a fan of like music by guitarists like Don Ross, Alex de Grassi, Michael Hedges, and I heard of this one guitar player, Eric Roach, and he was doing a workshop in the UK. So I went to study with him there, and he's the one that got me into all this stuff and DAT. So it was a 1-week workshop. I studied with him and another guitarist, Thomas Lee. And that is the beginning of me going into this alternate tuning, into percussion, more harmonics, slap harmonics. So at that time I was using a classical guitar, and then when I came back to Kuala Lumpur, I got a steel string guitar, and I started writing this music. So those are probably like the two pivotal moments when I went to Berkeley, and then when I studied with Eric Roach, and then later after that I got to study with many different people. And at San Jose State University in California when I did my master's. But the funny thing is, I was studying jazz, but I got to play a lot of classical guitar as well. So I played with the orchestra, I played in guitar quartet, classical guitar quartet, and also classical guitar quartet in chamber music, played Piazzolla, duet with flute player, flutist. And
historical tango.
The Cafe 1930. Cafe 1930. So I played one of that piece, and then also played with a singer doing soprano, classical soprano and classical guitar. So I had it was such a beautiful experience because in addition to playing big band and playing jazz, I got a lot of classical experience as well. So it was I've been very lucky, very fortunate to study with a lot of different people, and that shapes my playing.
Yes, one of the I'm very appreciate what As do because he really learn from he had that 有呢個決心啊，佢咧即係去到唔同嘅地方，去到學吉他啦，去到美國啊，去到唔同嘅地方，咁呢個係好值得我哋欣賞下。I'm so much appreciate that. Yes, and you learn from different master and lots of experience. And so one last question. If some player, maybe they're in Hong Kong and they want to get better or even to be a professional player, so what advice you give them?
Probably my biggest advice is, I think a lot of people come to me and they always ask me, what guitar is that you're using? Or like, what strings are you using? Or like, what picks are you using? And I say, I use my nails. And then, or like, what amplifier? So there's a lot of people who think, they always ask equipment question. But I think although I'm very lucky to have endorsement from different companies and use good equipment, I think the best investment that I've had is to study, experience study with a lot of great people. So I think my biggest advice if you want to turn professional or be a better guitarist is every chance you get to study with a good player, a better player to study, whether you just watch a YouTube video or if they come and visit Hong Kong, to ask them, email them, hi, my name is so and so, I like your playing, are you teaching guitar lessons while you're in Hong Kong? I would like to study a lesson with you. And even for me, right now, even though I've studied a lot, I still take lessons. And I just a month ago I contacted this guitarist in New York, Julian Lodge, and I took Skype lesson with him. And then another guitarist that I like, Charlie Hunter, who plays jazz fingerstyle on a 7-string guitar. I took a Skype lesson with him. He's in New York and I'm in Kuala Lumpur. And we, on my laptop, I look at what he does and he looked at what I was doing and he gave me a lesson. We studied by Skype. So I think if you really want to be a great guitar player, you should study from as many people as you can and learn lessons from anywhere you can. So invest in education. I think that's probably my best advice, because a lot of people already doing many great things, and if we can learn from them, we can improve even faster.
Yes. Well, that's very good. So thanks very much. I hope to invite you to Hong Kong someday. Okay. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. See you guys.